All right, finally got my manual tensioner in. Actually ordered this thing quite a long time ago and it's just taken a while to get here, so glad to finally have gotten it. So as you can see, it's a pretty nice unit. As far as construction goes, this is from a company called APE. More on that later. This is a billet piece, and the ball end here is pretty nice. And then as you can see, it's got a threaded shaft, and then there's a nut here that essentially cinches against this. It does have an O-ring, and inside you can actually see that it's actually there it goes. You can see it's recessed for that O-ring, which is kind of nice. One thing I don't like is that it does have this nut on top, and it looks like it's just, yeah, you can see there's a pin. That's the only thing that kind of holds this in place, which is a little weird. But I guess as far as from a manufacturing standpoint, it's much easier for them to source all of these parts in order to put it together like this. So I can kind of understand that. So as far as the packaging goes, as I mentioned before, this is a company called APE. Now, Gray Area KTM, I don't believe that they do a lot of manufacturing for a lot of this stuff. And this is another example. So they sourced from APE this tensioner, and if you actually look as a part number, KT400, it's meant for the KLX 400. If I remember correctly, it's like a almost like a dirt bike or adventure bike or something like that from Kawasaki. And then you can see KTM 390 Duke RC 13 to 15. This is a 16, but let's be honest, KTM probably didn't change their tensioner all the way up through, the current revision, so I wouldn't worry too much about that. It does have instructions, apraceparts.com, right? You can go there. They're very generic instructions, but we'll kind of go over some of that stuff and talk about some of the information that I saw online. So, if I remember correctly, I want to say I paid close to $80 for this thing shipped, and which is really funny because had I had known that they're just a middleman and they just order these parts from this company, I would have just bought this online because you can actually buy this directly from them. Don't quote me on shipping, but I know this part is like $60 from them. Or if you look on eBay, you could get this exact piece mailed to your door, shipping included, for probably around $54 with tax. So there is definitely some money to be saved, so to speak, should you get it from another source. But I didn't realize that, so here I am telling you about it. This company also is who Gray Area KTM uses for their titanium retainers. I'm actually running their titanium retainers in mine. You can see my powder coated Velcro over there. Running their titanium retainers in mine. So no issues with that so far. Anyways, on to the tensioner. So as we talked about, here's the tensioner. I'm going to be reusing my 8mm bolts. Keep in mind, these are pretty small. And by 8mm, I'm referring to the head of the bolt here, not necessarily the size of the bolt and thread pitch like most normal people do. And another thing that I'm reusing is my gasket. This is the original gasket that I've actually had on this thing, and it doesn't leak. But even if it does, I have a lot of gasket material, and honestly, I'll just cut some and make a new gasket because I don't want to wait 2 weeks just to get this one gasket. But I know this gasket's fine, so no problems there. So the way this works, the auto tensioner is spring loaded, presses against it, but everybody has a lot of problems with them. Sometimes they create a lot of chatter and whatnot from the chain because they get weak, they may not work right. In my case, I've had 2 failed tensioners because the pin that holds the head in place has broken in the exact same spot. So hence is why I have a manual tensioner. Inside of here, there's a chain guide, and it kind of curves around through here. In fact, if you put your finger in here, you can actually feel it. It's a plastic piece that goes all the way down. On the end of that, there's a little metal button for the tensioner to kind of press against, so that way you have metal to metal contact. And then the chain rides up around the cams, back down, and down to the crank to keep everything in timing, right? You can have this as either too loose, and if that happens, it could jump timing, or you could have it too tight, and if that happens, people have reported having bearing damage because of the excess pressure that it puts on there. If you were to have it right in the middle, kind of like Goldilocks, you'd probably would be okay. It would be a little chattery, but you wouldn't have to really worry about it jumping timing. If you actually had this, your tensioner off, and if you rotated your engine without a tensioner, it would actually just jump timing just from rotating it a couple times without a tensioner in place. So that kind of gives you an idea, just how much it takes for it to jump timing, which honestly is not that much. So the way this is supposed to work, this is going to go in, and from everything that I've been researching, you're supposed to basically tighten this down as much as you can, hand tight, until you can't really tighten no more. Now your fingers may vary. I say this because I have kind of nimble, small, girly hands, so I could probably only tighten this so much. But if you're, some giant Nordic Swedish guy or something, I'm not sure that combination's exactly right. But you have giant sausage fingers, and you could tighten this thing down a ridiculous amount. Might be slightly different. For me, I'm going to tighten this down as much as I can with my fingers, and then from there you're supposed to back it off 1/4 of an inch. If you're stronger, maybe a little bit more. And then once you get to that point, I'm going to go ahead and test it. I'll go ahead and run the bike, and then at that point we'll see how the bike sounds in terms of chain chatter, and that'll kind of give me an indication of whether it's too tight or too loose. If it's too loose, you can hear the chain kind of flapping around inside of there. If it's too tight, it almost sounds a little more mechanical, if that makes sense. And so, you can kind of play it by ear and see if you can find that happy medium. So it is a single cylinder bike, so these things, they're pretty much loud no matter what. But you can definitely tell the difference between one that has a tensioner that's kind of out the door, so to speak. At least I've been able to, just because I've had this bike for 23,000 miles or so. So I'm going to go ahead and get this installed, and once I do that, I'll return, and we'll start it up and see what it sounds like. Just remember, these are tiny. There's a likelihood that the metal in this is Swiss cheese. You do not need to tighten the living crap out of these bolts. The manual only calls for like 7 foot-pounds, so do these up with caution. Otherwise you'll rip the threads right out of the head. Alright, be right back. Alright, back at it again. So, as you can see, I actually had to thread this in quite a bit more than I thought. A little bit of a gap. I forgot to mention 5/8. I actually just used 2 wrenches. I was able to tighten it up pretty good. So, let's see what happens. I haven't started this in a little while, so let's see how she's going to run if she does. Okay, that actually sounds really good. Valve train noise, I haven't heard any. It sounds on par with exactly what it's supposed to sound like, so I'm very happy with our result. So I'll just keep monitoring it, making sure there's no issues, but yeah, pretty straightforward. That's it for now.